My wife's girlfriend is actually her lover, and they plan to run away together with my savings. I am Noah, 30 years old, and my wife is Helen, 28. We have been married for 5 years, and for the most part, things were pretty great. Or at least, that is what I believed until very recently. We met in college, the typical meet cute in a coffee shop kind of story. I spilled my latte all over her laptop, and instead of being furious, she laughed. We started talking, discovered we were in the same English literature class, and the rest, as they say, is history. We dated for 2 years, got engaged, and then had a beautiful wedding surrounded by family and friends. Life felt like it was falling into place perfectly. We bought a cozy little house in the suburbs last year, started talking about maybe trying for kids in a couple of years, and just generally enjoyed each other's company. Helen is a kindergarten teacher and I work in marketing. We are both pretty laid back, easygoing people, or at least I always thought we were. Things started to feel a little off a few months ago. Helen started mentioning this new friend from work, Sarah. Okay, cool, making new friends is great, but then Sarah started becoming a constant presence. Like seriously constant. Helen would say she was going out with Sarah after work, which turned into multiple evenings a week. Then Sarah started joining us on weekends. At first, it was just for brunch or a walk in the park, but then it escalated to Sarah being invited to our date nights. Yes, you read that right, our date nights. It started innocently enough. One Friday night, we were supposed to go to our favorite Italian restaurant, just the two of us, to celebrate our anniversary actually. Helen called me in the afternoon and said Sarah was having a really rough day and asked if it would be okay if Sarah joined us for dinner. She said Sarah was feeling incredibly down and needed some cheering up. Being the understanding and supportive husband I thought I was, I said okay, fine, Sarah can join us. I mean, what else was I going to say? It was our anniversary dinner, but I didn't want to seem like a jerk. That dinner was awkward. Sarah was indeed very down, mostly moping and sighing dramatically throughout the meal. Helen spent most of her time comforting Sarah, while I felt like a third wheel on my own anniversary date. It was definitely not the romantic evening I had envisioned. And this became a pattern. Sarah was always around. If we were going to the movies, Sarah would tag along. If we were planning a weekend hike, guess who was invited? Sarah. It got to the point where I started feeling like I was dating both Helen and Sarah. I tried to talk to Helen about it, gently of course. I didn't want to sound jealous or controlling, but I did mention that I felt like we weren't getting much alone time anymore. I said something like, "Hey, honey, I am really glad you are being such a good friend to Sarah, but I kind of miss just spending time with you, just us. Do you think maybe we could have a weekend soon that is just for us?" Helen's reaction was not what I expected. She got defensive almost immediately. She said, "Noah, Sarah is going through a really tough time right now. She needs my support. Are you saying I should just abandon her when she needs me the most?" And then she added, "It is really selfish of you to think only about yourself right now. Sarah is hurting. Can't you be a little more compassionate?" Wow, okay. Suddenly, I was the bad guy for wanting to spend alone time with my wife. I dropped it then because I hate arguing, and honestly, I felt guilty for even bringing it up after Helen made me feel like I was being insensitive. But the feeling of unease just kept growing. It wasn't just about Sarah being around all the time. It was also about Helen's behavior. She seemed different, more distant, less affectionate. She used to be so cuddly and loving, always wanting to hold hands or snuggle on the couch. But lately, she seemed almost cold. She would brush off my attempts to be affectionate, saying she was tired or stressed. Our conversations became very surface level, mostly about Sarah and her problems or about work. We used to talk for hours about everything and nothing, sharing our dreams and fears. Now it felt like we were just roommates who occasionally shared a bed. One evening I was looking for my phone charger. I couldn't find it anywhere. I searched all over the bedroom, under the bed, on the nightstand, in the drawers. Nothing. Frustrated, I started rummaging through Helen's nightstand drawer, which is usually just filled with books and lotions. And that is when I found it. A phone. Not Helen's usual phone, but a different one. A sleek black smartphone that I had never seen before. I picked it up confused. It was turned off. Curiosity getting the better of me, I pressed the power button. The screen lit up and I saw it was password protected. I hesitated for a moment. I knew I probably shouldn't be doing this. Snooping through your wife's phone is a major violation of privacy, I know. But something in my gut told me that this was important. I had this nagging feeling that something was seriously wrong, and this phone might hold the answers. I tried Helen's birthday as the password. Nope. Then our anniversary date. Still no. Then, just on a whim, I tried Sarah's name, and it unlocked. My heart started pounding in my chest. Why would Sarah's name be the password to a phone that I found in my wife's nightstand? I went straight to the Messages app, and there it was, a message thread with Sarah. My hands were shaking as I started scrolling through the messages. At first, they seemed innocent enough. Just friendly banter, memes, and everyday stuff. But then, as I scrolled further back, the tone changed. The messages became more intimate, more affectionate. There were hearts and kisses and pet names. My stomach dropped. I kept reading, my eyes scanning the screen, desperately trying to make sense of what I was seeing. And then I saw it. A message from Helen to Sarah that read, "I can't wait until we can finally be together, just the two of us, away from all of this." Another one, "I dream of waking up next to you every morning." And another one that made my blood run cold, "We should take some money from the joint account. Noah won't even notice for a while. We can use it to get started in our new life." Our new life? What new life? My head was spinning. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. My wife, the woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, was having an affair with her new friend Sarah. And they were planning to run away together, taking our savings with them. I sat there on the edge of the bed, staring at the phone in my hand, completely numb. It felt like the world around me was crumbling. Everything I thought was real, everything I believed about my marriage, was suddenly shattered into pieces. I didn't know how long I sat there, just staring at the screen, rereading the messages over and over again, as if trying to convince myself that it wasn't real. But it was real. It was all there in black and white on this secret phone that my wife had hidden from me. Eventually, I managed to pull myself together. I turned off the phone, put it back in the nightstand drawer, and tried to act as normal as possible. Helen came home from work a few hours later. She seemed cheerful, bubbly, completely oblivious to the bomb that had just dropped in my life. She asked about my day, and I just mumbled something about work being busy. We had dinner, watched some mindless TV, and went to bed. I lay there next to her in the dark, my mind racing, my heart aching. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those messages on the phone screen. I kept replaying our conversations from the past few months in my head, trying to find clues, trying to understand how I could have been so blind. How could I not have seen this coming? Were there signs that I missed? Was I really that clueless? The next morning, I knew I couldn't keep pretending that everything was okay. I had to confront Helen. I waited until after breakfast, after she had finished getting ready for work. She was about to leave when I stopped her. "Helen, can we talk for a minute?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm, even though inside I was a mess. She looked at me a little surprised. "Sure, what is it?" she said, glancing at her watch. "I have to leave for work soon." I took a deep breath and just blurted it out. "I know about Sarah," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "I know about the phone. I know everything." Helen's face went white. All the color drained from her cheeks. She just stared at me, speechless for what felt like an eternity. Then finally she whispered, "How? How did you find out?" I didn't answer her question. I just looked at her, my eyes filled with hurt and betrayal. "Why, Helen?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Why would you do this?" She started to cry. Tears streamed down her face as she confessed everything. She said it started a few months ago when Sarah joined her team at work. "They clicked instantly," she said. "They started spending lunch breaks together, then after work drinks, and it just happened." She said she had been confused, overwhelmed, but that she had fallen in love with Sarah. Fallen in love with Sarah. Those words echoed in my head, sharp and painful. She said she knew it was wrong, that she felt guilty, but that she couldn't help it. She said Sarah made her feel seen, understood in a way that I apparently didn't. Ouch, that stung. She said they had been planning to leave, to start a new life together, somewhere far away. She admitted to planning to take money from our joint account. She said she was sorry. But honestly, her apology felt hollow, meaningless. The damage was done. The trust was broken. My heart was completely shattered. I just stood there listening to her confession, feeling numb, empty. When she was done, I didn't yell, I didn't scream, I didn't even cry. I just said, "I think you should leave." She looked at me, surprised. "Leave? Where am I supposed to go?" "I don't care," I said, my voice cold and flat. "Just go. Get out of my house. Get out of my life." She didn't argue. She just nodded, tears still streaming down her face. She went to the bedroom, packed a bag, and left. Just like that. 5 years of marriage gone, shattered by a secret phone and a betrayal I never saw coming. I felt like my life had just been turned upside down. I was lost, confused, heartbroken, and completely alone. Should I just let it go? Update 1. I can't believe how many comments and upvotes my story received. Thank you, Reddit, for all the support and advice. It means more than you know. I'm still trying to process everything that has happened, and reading your comments has been incredibly helpful. A lot of you asked for updates, so here is what has happened since I posted yesterday. First of all, Helen is gone. She moved out that same day and is staying with Sarah, I assume. I haven't heard from her directly, but her mom called me yesterday evening. Apparently, Helen told her parents everything. Her mom was surprisingly understanding, actually. She said she was shocked and disappointed in Helen, but that she still loved her daughter and wanted to make sure she was okay. She asked if I was doing all right, and I just said I was hanging in there. It was a short, awkward conversation, but I appreciated her reaching out. I spent most of yesterday just trying to wrap my head around everything. I reread your comments multiple times, and a lot of you suggested that I should get legal advice and protect my finances. That was definitely a wake-up call. Honestly, in my initial shock and hurt, I hadn't even thought about the practicalities of the situation. I was so focused on the emotional betrayal that I completely overlooked the financial aspect. So, first thing this morning, I called a lawyer. It was just a quick consultation, but it was incredibly helpful. He advised me to freeze our joint bank accounts immediately, which I did. Thank goodness I caught them before Helen and Sarah could drain them completely. He also suggested that I start gathering any evidence of the affair, like those messages on the secret phone, which I screenshot before Helen potentially deletes them. Good point. I went back to the nightstand drawer, found the phone, and took pictures of all the incriminating messages. I also backed up everything to a cloud storage just to be safe. Paranoid? Maybe, but better safe than sorry, right? A lot of you also asked about Sarah. I haven't met her in person, not really. I've seen her a few times when she was with Helen, but we never really talked. She always seemed kind of quiet and mousy, not at all the femme fatale I had imagined. But I guess appearances can be deceiving. Honestly, I'm not even angry at Sarah. I'm mostly just disappointed in Helen. She is the one who broke our vows, who betrayed my trust. Sarah is just a person Helen cheated with. I know that sounds simplistic, but that is how I feel right now. My anger is directed at Helen, not Sarah. Some of you also suggested that I should confront Sarah. Honestly, I don't see the point. What would I even say? Hey, you stole my wife? I don't think that would be very productive. Plus, I really don't want to have any more drama than I already have. I just want to move on with my life and put this whole mess behind me. Right now, I am focusing on taking care of myself. I took a few days off work to process everything and just breathe. I have been going for long walks in the park, listening to music and trying to eat healthy. Sleep is still a bit of a struggle, but hopefully that will get better with time. I have also reached out to a therapist. I know I need to talk to someone professional to help me navigate all these emotions and deal with the trauma of betrayal. This whole situation is still incredibly raw and painful, but I am trying to stay positive and focus on the future. Thank you again for all your support and kind words. It really does make a difference. I will keep you updated as things unfold. Update 2. Wow, I am blown away by the continued support and encouragement from Reddit. Seriously, you guys are amazing. Thank you for all the messages and awards. It really helps to know that I am not alone in this. Okay, so update time. Things have been interesting to say the least. Yesterday, I got a call from Helen. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. I picked up and her voice was shaky and tearful. She said she wanted to talk. I was hesitant, but eventually I agreed to meet her for coffee. We met at a neutral coffee shop, the same one where we had our first date, ironically. It felt surreal sitting across from her, knowing everything that had happened. She looked terrible, tired, pale, and her eyes were all puffy from crying. She started by apologizing, again. She said she was so sorry for hurting me, for betraying my trust, for everything. She said she knew she had made a huge mistake and that she regretted it deeply. I listened to her apology, but honestly, it didn't really move me. It felt like she was just saying what she thought I wanted to hear. I asked her, "Why, Helen? Why did you do this?" And she launched into this long, rambling explanation about how she felt like our marriage had become stagnant, how she felt like I wasn't paying attention to her anymore, how she felt like Sarah understood her in a way that I didn't. Blah, blah, blah. Honestly, it sounded like a bunch of excuses to justify her actions. She said she loved Sarah, but she also still loved me, and she was confused and didn't know what she wanted. Confused. Honey, you were planning to run away with another woman and steal my money. That doesn't sound very confused to me. I told her that I didn't buy her excuses, that she had made her choice, and that she needed to live with the consequences. I said that I was filing for divorce, and that I wanted her to move out of the house permanently and stop contacting me. Her reaction was dramatic. She started sobbing uncontrollably, begging me to forgive her, saying she would do anything to fix things, that she would break up with Sarah, that she would go to therapy, anything. It was honestly pathetic. I just sat there stone-faced and let her cry. When she finally calmed down a bit, I said, "Helen, it is too late. You crossed a line that you can't uncross. I can't trust you anymore. I don't even think I want to. It is over." She kept trying to plead with me, but I just stood up and walked out. I had enough. I didn't want to hear any more of her excuses or apologies. I just wanted to be done with her and this whole mess. Later that day, I got a text message from Sarah. Yes, Sarah. Apparently Helen told her about our coffee meeting and Sarah decided to reach out to me. Great. Just what I needed. Another conversation I didn't want to have. I almost ignored the text, but again, curiosity got the better of me. She texted, "Hi Noah, it is Sarah. I know this is probably the last thing you want to hear from right now, but I wanted to apologize. I am so sorry for what happened. I know I messed up big time. I honestly didn't mean to hurt you. I know that probably sounds hollow, but it is true." I replied, "You are right, this is the last thing I want to hear from you. Leave me alone, Sarah," but she persisted. She texted back, "Can we please just talk, just for a few minutes?" I promise I won't take up much of your time. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We arranged to meet at a park, again, a neutral public place. I wanted to make sure this was in broad daylight and in a public setting. I'm not sure why, but I just felt uneasy meeting her alone. When I met Sarah at the park, she looked even worse than Helen. She was pale, gaunt, and her eyes were red and swollen. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. She started by apologizing, just like Helen. But Sarah's apology felt different. It felt more genuine, more sincere. She said she knew what she did was wrong, that she had hurt me deeply, and that she took full responsibility for her actions. She said she had fallen in love with Helen, but she knew it was wrong to pursue a relationship with a married woman. She said she had tried to break things off with Helen multiple times, but that Helen had convinced her to stay. She painted Helen as this manipulative, desperate woman who had basically seduced her and dragged her into this whole mess. I'm not sure if I believe that completely, but it was definitely an interesting perspective. She said she was also going to break up with Helen, that she realized that this relationship was toxic and destructive, and that she couldn't continue to be a part of it. She said she hoped that someday, maybe in the distant future, I could forgive her. Forgive her. I don't know about that, but I did appreciate her apology, and I did believe that she was genuinely remorseful. It was definitely a different vibe than Helen's tearful, self-serving excuses. I still don't condone her actions, but I did feel a little bit of sympathy for her. Maybe she is just as much a victim of Helen's manipulation as I am. I don't know. It is all so messed up. Anyway, that is the latest. I am still processing everything, still feeling hurt and betrayed, but also starting to feel a little bit of relief. Like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. The truth is out in the open now, and I can start to move on with my life. Divorce proceedings are starting, finances are being sorted out, and I am focusing on healing and rebuilding. Thank you again for all your support, Reddit. You guys are the best. Update 3. Hello again, Reddit. Another update for you all. Things are progressing, albeit slowly. The divorce process has officially started. My lawyer is handling everything, which is a huge relief. He is a bulldog, and I feel confident that he will protect my interests. We had our first official meeting with Helen's lawyer last week. It was tense. Helen was there, looking even more miserable than the last time I saw her. She barely made eye contact with me. Her lawyer was all business, very professional, but also clearly trying to minimize Helen's liability and protect her assets. The main point of contention is the house. It is in both our names, but I made the down payment and have been paying the mortgage. Helen's lawyer argued that it should be split 50-50. My lawyer laughed in his face. He pointed out Helen's infidelity, the planned theft of funds, and her overall behavior as grounds for me to get a much larger share of the assets, including the house. It got pretty heated, with lawyers throwing legal jargon and accusations back and forth. Helen just sat there, looking like she wanted to disappear into the floor. We didn't reach any agreement at that meeting, but my lawyer is confident that we will get a favorable outcome. Financially, things are also being sorted out. I managed to freeze the joint accounts just in time, so Helen and Sarah didn't get their hands on our savings. Thank goodness for that. My lawyer advised me to separate all our finances completely, so I have opened new accounts in my name only and transferred all my funds. It feels good to have control over my own money again. It is sad that it has come to this, but I am glad I took proactive steps to protect myself financially. Emotionally, I am still on a roller coaster. Some days are better than others. I have started therapy, and it is helping. Talking to a professional about everything that has happened has been incredibly cathartic. My therapist is helping me process my emotions, understand my reactions, and develop coping mechanisms. It is a long journey, but I am making progress. I am also leaning on my friends and family for support. They have been amazing throughout this whole ordeal. My friends have been taking me out, keeping me distracted, and reminding me that I am not alone. My family has been incredibly supportive, offering a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, and lots of love and encouragement. I am so grateful for the people in my life. They are helping me get through this. As for Sarah, I haven't heard from her since our meeting in the park. I assume she has broken up with Helen as she said she would. Honestly, I don't care what happens to Sarah and Helen. I am focusing on myself and my own healing. I am trying to rebuild my life, piece by piece. It is not easy, but I am determined to come out of this stronger and wiser. I have started pursuing some hobbies that I had neglected, like painting and hiking. I am also trying to reconnect with old friends and make new ones. I am focusing on self-care, on taking care of my physical and mental health. I am learning to be okay with being alone, to enjoy my own company. It is a slow process, but I am getting there. I know that healing takes time, and I am giving myself permission to grieve, to feel my emotions, and to move forward at my own pace. Thank you again for all your support and encouragement, Reddit. Your kind words and advice have been invaluable. I will keep you updated on my progress. Update 4. Hello Reddit, final update for now. I wanted to let you all know how things have resolved, and thank you one last time for your incredible support throughout this whole ordeal. The divorce is finalized. It was a bit messy and dragged on longer than I would have liked, but it is finally over. My lawyer did an amazing job. I got to keep the house, and Helen got a relatively small settlement. She definitely didn't get away with stealing half of everything, which is a relief. Financially, I am in a good place. I have separated all my finances from Helen, and I am managing my money responsibly. I am rebuilding my savings and focusing on my financial future. Emotionally, I am doing much better. Therapy has been incredibly helpful. I have learned so much about myself, about relationships, and about healthy coping mechanisms. I have processed a lot of my anger, hurt, and betrayal. I have forgiven Helen not for her sake, but for my own. Holding on to anger and resentment was only hurting me. Letting go of those negative emotions has been incredibly liberating. I have also learned to trust myself again. For a while, I questioned my judgment, my intuition, everything. I wondered how I could have been so blind, how I could have missed the signs. But my therapist helped me realize that it wasn't my fault. Helen made a conscious choice to betray me, and that is on her, not me. I am not to blame for her actions. I am a good person, a loving and supportive partner, and I deserve to be treated with respect and honesty. I am no longer defined by Helen's betrayal. I am moving forward, stronger and more resilient than ever. I have also started dating again. Yes, you read that right. Dating. It was scary at first, putting myself out there again after everything that happened. But I realized that I can't let Helen's actions ruin my chances of finding love again. I deserve to be happy, and I am open to finding someone who will appreciate me for who I am and treat me with the love and respect I deserve. I have been on a few dates, nothing serious yet, but it feels good to connect with new people and to feel hopeful about the future again. Life is good. It is different for sure than what I had imagined for myself 5 years ago when I got married, but different doesn't necessarily mean bad. I'm embracing this new chapter of my life, with all its uncertainties and possibilities. I am focusing on my own happiness, on my own well-being, and on creating a fulfilling and meaningful life for myself. I am grateful for all the lessons I have learned, even the painful ones. This experience has made me stronger, more resilient, and more appreciative of the good things in my life. Thank you again, Reddit, for being there for me during this difficult time. Your support and kindness have meant the world to me. I'm closing this chapter of my life now and looking forward to a brighter future. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.